And hello everyone. Few technical issues as well as us trying to sort out a couple of things here or there means the stream got a bit delayed. So for those of you all who were waiting and in anticipation, thank you all for joining us and waiting around. So it's a little bit of an, as you can see, casual setting. Siddharth's on a beanbag for a change, and all of
That
us.
doesn't mean he's any calm today.
No, that's definitely not the case.
Never has been, never will be.
But what is happening is that in a little bit more of a, let's say, informal setting, we joining you guys. I mean, there's 2 days left for the new year 2024 to usher in, and 2023 really it's been a pretty interesting year in the world of sport. So we said, okay, let's have a bit of a discussion, because I mean, we don't really know what the case is going to be in a couple of days time, how many of us are going to be in office, what is going to be happening. Major cricketing action for the year now is pretty much done with, so for the next couple of days you're seeing no real action in that regard. You will see action in sports beyond that. Football fans are going to be looking forward to some good action come tomorrow. It's Saturday, but we said, okay, let's actually get going and recap the world of sport in general. So, without further ado, gents, let's throw the room open.
And not just that, while we take the conversation forward, we'll try taking not questions towards the end, we'll try taking questions live. We've got a stream over here as well. There's also, let's say, not just looking back at this year, but also we try and answer your questions as well. So feel free, and we're up for conversation for everything, quite literally under the sun. Because, again, it's that time of the year where you're just looking back at things, and we're not just going to be talking about cricket. The idea could be to talk about badminton, football. You've got a couple of F1 buffs as well, Shane and Saranj.
Although less spoken about that sport in 2023, the better.
Yeah, both of them obviously that reaction coming in from Shane, because both support Mercedes, and we all quite know what happened over there.
You could be supporting any team except Red Bull. You'd be supporting any team and you'd be disappointed unless you're a Red Bull and Verstappen fan. It's been like that.
Yeah, such one-sided domination all over the year.
Every time, right?
After every race, best national anthem playing up. I think.
I mean, it was so bad, by the way, the domination, that there's actually a video which went viral whereby Verstappen is a very avid, he's an avid sim racer. Sim racing is basically like video games, except they're more realistic. And there was a point where he is at a sim race, and after the sim race, the Dutch national anthem starts. And he very pointedly says, no, stop this, and then he says a 4-letter word starting with S, which if an Indian player had to say for the national anthem, let's just say, wouldn't go down very well. But even he's bored of hearing the Dutch national anthem. That's how bad the F1 season was.
I mean, yes, dominance, if you have to look at it in F1, was there. But for me, two glorious things happened in chess for me. One, you're talking about Max Verstappen's dominance. What were you thinking about Magnus Carlsen? I mean, the beast, the absolute Bradman of
Not
chess.
to be confused with Heinrich Carlsen.
No, not at all. Despite Shane's multiple efforts to ensure we make that faux pas, it never happens with me. So, Magnus Carlsen
It's happened with him a few times.
It's happened with him.
But
yes.
obviously, so many times you repeat it.
Yeah. But this year is a golden year for chess, because you're seeing two Indian players in the candidates. Today, we may see a third one. Pragnananda in the Chess World Cup for me was the moment of 2024 when it comes to chess. And looking at it, Vidit's victory in the Isle of Man Grand Swiss tournament, that summed up India's dominance. I mean, for 37 years, Vishwanathan Anand was propelling it. And on the global stage, he was the number one chess player. Where there was only one, now there is a potential of 3 Indians making the candidates. For me, that is the coming of age of Indian sports, if I may add. Other sports and all. 2023 is the golden year when I look at it.
Then by that logic, I agree. Chess is something obviously Siddharth, does follow very closely. But if you're talking about Indian sport as a whole, I mean, Neeraj on more than a couple of occasions doing the nation very, very proud.
I'll go a step further. The fact that we had 65 odd medals the last time in the Asian Games, that for us to now cross the 100 mark, finish with 107, that's a big feat. 27 gold medals, if my memory serves me right.
And lest we forget, if you're talking about Asian Games.
So cricket, a dampener, a downer,
we'll get to that.
and we'll get to that, because again, this conversation, I'm sorry for saying that, didn't mean to touch any raw nerves out there. but let's be honest, that's the kind of year it was for Indian cricket. But otherwise, if you see, yes, there was progress in other sports, and especially the Asian Games. And I know the comparison will then be with our overall tally when it comes to Olympics, Commonwealth Games, and how we are then lagging behind in comparison to the other nations out there. And see, it's an admission, and that we may not be able to catch up for some more time. But the fact that from 60 odd medals, you crossed the 100 mark, looking for plenty more the next time around as well. And for us to get medals in categories and events we didn't think of, that's a big boost.
That too in China, I think.
Big
Performing in front
boost.
of that Chinese crowd against the Chinese, the mighty Chinese, we call them in Olympic sports and everything. And with you end up with such record medal tally, I think that was
for
fabulous.
me, Neeraj completing total javelin. Okay, that summed up
At
2024.
23 years of age only. In 2023,
Yep.
23 years of age.
Asian champion, Commonwealth champion, under 20 champion, then Olympic
Olympic gold,
champion, World Athletics.
World
He's done
champion.
it all. World champion. He's done it all. But for me, in the Asian Games, if I have to look at it, the one moment which stood out, okay, the gold medals is there, equestrian, like how you say that, which was the lawn bowls.
Lawn bowling
in Commonwealth.
in Commonwealth Games,
Yeah.
you won a gold in lawn bowl. Yeah,
But for me,
22.
more than equestrian, I think the efforts of Ahika and Sutirtha Mukherjee beating the world number 2 Chinese duo in table tennis.
Oh.
Table tennis, a sport where China has dominated like next level from 1988.
No, I'll add to that. China's domination in TT was so bad that the Olympics had to change the rules. To
A quota, they had to get a
exactly.
quota in.
So that was how bad it was, because you'd have matches where the final would be, two Chinese athletes, and the third place player would also be 2 Chinese athletes. So first, second, third, fourth were all Chinese athletes. That's how bad the domination was. So to beat them, even in the Asian Games, massive. No two
And
ways
back
about it.
to Wang Yidi and Chen Meng, the number 2 ranked Chinese duo in the world, and Chen Meng in particular, the greatest table tennis player of all time. And Ahika and Sutirtha beating them. I think that was the moment. And Avinash Sable showed he and the rest of Asia are so behind. 3,000 meter steeplechase, the gap was close to 3 to 4 seconds.
Nothing, no, for that matter, if you're talking about those moments, for me, underrated Asian Games again, when you had the javelin gold medal men's being compared, basically the fight off was between 2 Indians. It was Neeraj or Kishore Kumar Jaina.
Exactly, I wanted to.
When is the rare thing that you have not just 1 but 2 guaranteed medals like that in track and field? Track and field is a event that a lot of us, in fact Siddharth would know it better than anyone, is that when you saw that, whether it be the Olympic sports or multi-sporting disciplines, you're like, no, not happening. You're not getting a medal, hope.
A historic one too.
Huh.
When was that ever heard of?
Exactly. In fact, that's exactly what has happened since the time Neeraj has broke out into the picture. You have seen that cultural changing in javelin throws also, and that is exactly what's happening. Now you've got 100 medals. There would be more people getting inspired by this and getting into such sports. So that was a really big turnaround, because Neeraj Chopra not too many years back has won the Olympics gold, and now you see a Jenna doing well in the Asian Games also. So that is a cultural change which is clearly visible in Indian sport, that is changing. When you're doing good in other sports.
And adding to Saran's point, China, they provided so many obstacles, like the false start to Jyoti Araji, the foul when it was not there.
Neeraj's first throw was not
Kishore Jana,
counted.
yeah, technical counting in Neeraj Chopra's
We didn't
case.
record your this first throw. We'll have to do it again.
So, in that sense, overcoming all the obstacles that are put in by China, getting 100 plus medals, is a reflection of growth, and athletics as always has contributed to India's growth in past Asian Games also, be it 2018 or now here in 2022. I mean, look at it. You saw Harmilan Benz also, a fantastic silver medal.
Men's
And
doubles badminton gold.
Satvik
Historic,
Chirag.
yeah.
They are the champion do. I think let's take a couple of
I just wanted to take this comment, and Shreyan says that Romelu Lukaku's iconic save versus City in the UCL final was his favorite moment of the year.
He's being very tongue-in-cheek, but there was a moment in for those of you who didn't watch, wherein I think it was Nico Barella who had got
header.
Yeah, it was a header,
It was a
and
header.
Lukaku was there on the goal line, and rather than get out of the way, it ended up hitting his foot. No, not it hit his foot. He saved his own teammates. This thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a horror year for Romelu Lukaku, isn't it?
So Raman Singh has a prediction for you as well. So Merck, he's saying bold prediction. Merck in 2024, Merck have their car screwed up again. Lewis terminates his contract mid-season. Goes to Ferrari in 25. Ends Ferrari's title drought and breaks Schumacher's record.
I highly doubt if Lewis has to leave Mercedes, he's not. No, not just that. Even if he terminates, fine. There are always break clauses and everything. But if he leaves Mercedes to go to Ferrari of all teams, he's never breaking any records. That 8th title will remain a dream. He has a better chance of winning it at Mercedes than he does at Ferrari. No one is winning a title at Ferrari. Take it from me in writing.
But yeah, Charles Leclerc, I mean, there's one thing that I want to mention about it. I never knew. I found out in the 2024 season that he plays a wonderful piano. He was one piece, got selected in the world top 10. It trended for some time on Spotify. That is how Charles Leclerc's piano is. I mean, he plays the piano better than drives the Ferrari. Is that what you say?
No. He drives very well, but he often gets disappointed by the strategies.
Yeah, Ferrari strategy screwed both drivers, I think.
Yeah.
Pawan is asking, can Indian cricket team bounce back in second test in New Year?
I would be very, very surprised, let's say. Newlands has never been a venue where India have done well.
6 tests, you lost 4 and drawn 2. And the last draw there was 2011. When Tendulkar and Steyn had that final big encounter that they had. But Indian cricket now, you have ended the year on an absolute poor note, and you want to focus on cricket now, or do we have some wonderful, glorious sporting moments where we shift to the downer that is cricket?
We can go to cricket. We can go down the cricket well. Why not?
Well, I am saying...
Games, because you guys see us very often, in case you're wondering who that is our dear producer Shivam. He's managed to take out some time and be with us here in this conversation. Shivam, any thoughts to begin with?
Firstly, I want to take a question. Hotness is here. His name or her name is. Why India is not selecting players from Ranji? Question from Sid.
Why players are not getting selected from the Ranji? Simple. You have changed your selection benchmark now. It's no longer Ranji, it's no longer Vijay Hazare, it's no longer Syed Mushtaq Ali. Syed Mushtaq Ali has become a feeder system for the IPL. There you go.
And IPL is the ultimate benchmark to
Also,
break into the Indian cricket
the most
scene.
recent example you can think of, let's say somebody really standing out, Sarfaraz. That's the only name that comes to your mind. If you were to look at the last 2 to 3 years, why was he not able to break into the side again? Because roles are fixed. But you can only play 11, and the problem with bringing somebody like Sarfaraz into the system has been the fact that the roles are fixed. And then obviously the temptation, let's say, or let's say the vision, because a few players, and I won't take names here, a few players are perceived to be players who are going to be there in the bigger scheme of things, in the grander scheme of things, which is why perhaps you would feel that they've bypassed the whole process. But the fact that they've had better IPLs, not Sarfaraz so much, maybe that's also benefited them in the red ball format as well.
But also, don't you think that something that is being the devil's advocate here, what you said, I totally agree to that firstly. Secondly, being the devil's advocate here, what I have noticed recently in domestic cricket, especially red ball, is that the quality of domestic cricket has been falling down, has been coming down. It's not the same what it used to be, and the very big reason to that is also that the domestic players are not that keen to play Ranji Trophy. Because of that also the standards have come down, and maybe that's why people, the Indian selectors don't give that much weightage to the red ball.
See, this is a chicken and egg kind of situation. Personally, I think a lot of players, if you go by recent history also, just yesterday we were talking about, there's enough players who do end up, doing well in domestic cricket and then get ignored. If you would you rather take the route of a Priyank Panchal, someone who grounded out in the domestic system for years but has absolutely nothing to show for it, or say no, I'll have a couple of flash IPL performances and maybe that gets me not even Rahane. Actually, Rahane was a proven test player, or someone like a Rituraj, for instance, doesn't really play much red ball but is seen as your first test opener.
Look, your problem is in the scheduling, okay? When does the Ranji Trophy normally happen?
Yes.
December, March.
January.
Also,
Where do most of our international players are at that time? They're on tour.
The fact that when you say standards have dropped, that's also to do with the fact that even those who are not, let's say, in the Indian scheme of things or aren't on that particular tour, they aren't playing domestic cricket. Most recent example, last year when you were looking at players, only Jadeja was the one, by the way, who played that one match.
Ashwin too.
After his
Ashwin was anyway going to be there in the red ball scheme of things. You were looking at the other senior pros who chose not to, by the way, go. You were talking about the World Test Championship final, by the way. But then Jadeja was the only one. Again, he was also coming back from an injury.
And that was one of the main reasons, because there's still, tell me this, if Jadeja had been playing cricket consistently, would he have played that match? I doubt it. But the reason he did was because he was coming back from a very long injury layoff.
Are you saying that the players have found a shortcut in terms of IPL? They wanted to make their name in IPL. They wanted to be picked up by IPL franchise, and then they know that that's a direct line to the Indian cricket team, and then we might taking nothing away from Rinku Singh, let's say. He had a blasting season last year. First got selected for T20I, got selected the ODI. Now as a backup in Test. Just saying. So now all those young players or domestic players, they found what they want now. They wanted to be picked by a certain IPL side. If they get a chance, they will perform and they'll go to the Indian cricket team. Why waste years in Ranji Trophy, SMAC, and all the tournaments? If I have found a shortcut, I would want to go directly to the team.
Me being a player, I definitely know here that if I'm having a couple of, like Sarfaraz Khan you mentioned, has been having 3 good domestic seasons, hasn't gotten that recognition on the Indian stage. Yeah, he was a part of the India A squad, did not perform that well there, but one India A tour isn't enough. You used to have a lot of India A tours prior to COVID era. You had a lot of India A tours. Now, as a player, I know that I need to be fully fit for the IPL, and that IPL is just like Sidvi sir mentioned, scheduled just before the Ranji Trophy.
One more factor. Okay, Shashwat. Does the Ranji Trophy get, you may say, ad nauseum broadcasting like the IPL?
Get broadcasted.
Only for there's no publicity for it, advertisement for it. That I agree.
In comparison to IPL.
But the onus is not on the broadcaster, I feel. No, again, that's the problem. So, whatever we do in the Ranji Trophy, it will not get highlighted that much because very few people see it.
Put it this way, because I like that Saransh brought up the example of Rinku, because from what I know, Rinku, and I just had to look at his numbers, has actually been playing first class cricket quite a fair bit for UP. And truth be told, if you go by his numbers, and again, I'm saying this as someone who works in this field, I myself wasn't quite aware, but look at his first class numbers: 42 tests, 63 innings, 3,000 runs. 163 in order being his highest score, average of 57.82.
You answered my question.
Put it this way, who the hell really knew about this before he hit those 5 sixes against Yash Dayal?
Last year.
No, but is this the see? Now what you're saying is that those players don't become a household name by performing in the Ranji Trophy. Yeah, that is true.
That's a problem. So
I do agree to that thing. But as a selector, my job is not to pick players who are a household name. My job in red ball cricket is to pick the players who are doing well in the red ball format in Ranji Trophy. Only then will they become household names. I'm not a movie director who would be picking up people who are
that's a good
exactly, who are picking up people on the basis of if they are household names or not. So that is a discredit to the selectors then, if they are picking up players on the basis of the IPL.
Look, you are doing that. You are doing that because see,
Yes, you are.
the IPL is the benchmark. I mean, if you look at it, why was Ajinkya Rahane fast track into the WTC? Simple, because of those performances.
In CSK.
CSK.
But it was also because he comes with a certain degree of pedigree in red ball cricket.
Agreed.
And there was a position to fill. Simple as that.
But the fact is, nowadays the perception even among fans is that no one takes Ranji performances seriously. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
When an Avesh was called up earlier today, he was named as a backup. The reaction from a lot of people was like, "Oh, why are you taking Avesh? He's done so poorly in white ball cricket. He's been a flop, a failure, this, that." My point is, have you seen his red ball stats?
He was the one who broke Hanuma Vihari's wrist, my friend, and he's got 150 plus wickets.
Khan, who's got 149 first-class wickets. Does anyone know about that? No.
one knows about
But perception is reality. Then I don't entirely blame players because part of it comes upon us as fans also to change that culture and give that credence. I mean, a Sarfaraz is one player. Of Priyank Panchal, a Faiz Fasal, the likes of
Harshal Patel picking wickets, getting purple cap for two years, I think. He
Yeah.
broke into the Indian scene. Avesh broke into the Indian scene after the IPL only.
Yes. And one more problem with your Ranji Trophy. It's now too bloated with too many teams.
split division.
Look at how the Northeast teams have come, but look at the quality that has been produced. Services are there, railways are there. Where do you play in all those games? And imagine there are 30 games held in a day.
See, yeah. That is true. No, now again, if you're taking this as a disadvantage, I would take it as an advantage because if this wasn't happening, you did not have teams from the Northeast. You would have said that talent isn't coming out. Now you have the people. Someone like Riyan Parag has come from Assam. They have the opportunity. I do agree that talent isn't at that scale, but because they are getting that exposure, it's not something that's going to change overnight. It's going to change. Now you're also seeing that because the Ranji Trophy isn't getting that much of an exposure. People used to watch a lot of Ranji cricket. It was taken seriously. But we are talking in perspective of covering it, but we are not doing it anymore because there is so much cricket. But as a selector again, my job is not to, I would not, as a selector, would not pick players on the basis of their right ball form. My job still remains to pick players on the, then stop Ranji Trophy if it's of no weightage. Then if you're picking players for the red ball, then pick from the Ranji Trophy squad so that the players know this fact.
Simple question before you take one more comment. When was the last time a player got picked from the Ranji Trophy?
Mayank Agarwal.
Exactly. 5 years ago. And we are going to Sri Lanka in terms
And
of
you also took it took you 2 bad showings here or there to drop him also. Hanuma Vihari, someone who did well in domestic cricket, you made him a bits and pieces player. We'll put him as an opener, we'll put him as
He also performed at the international level as well. I remember the Gavaskar Trophy.
He saved you Sydney.
He saved you Sydney.
But he played on all different numbers. He used to.
what wrong did Hanuma Vihari do? That is the one mystery that we'll always have. But I'm saying, look at Sri Lanka. Too many clubs, too many teams. There's no talent emerging.
Then that's very
That's
true.
the same thing that's going in the
again,
Ranji
a very
Trophy
big reason for this is that the selectors aren't paying attention, and that is what the players can see. That Ranji Trophy isn't getting that much of attention, and that's why they also don't want to play the Ranji domestic season because they know it's no point. That here it's the whole system is at fault. You're spoiling. You have a very good international system which a lot of countries don't have. Someone like a Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh crave for cricketing systems like India have, but you're spoiling it by taking players only who have eyeballs on them.
You know, Pakistan have reduced the number of teams. Initially, they had 16. They said, okay, water and power development, no. Banks, no. Only regional system. That's how it is. Hi, sir.
So, a question on similar lines. KK is asking, do you think BCCI is more inclined towards the money than ICC trophy?
Yeah.
Why are we not able to get an experienced view of matches in India as Australia or England?
I mean, are you really asking that question? I mean, the whole sport of cricket, by the way, is designed to squeeze every bit of money out of the sport as much as possible. I mean, if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't be having an ICC tournament happening every single year. There's a reason. There's no novelty to it anymore, and it's just become a case of let's flog the broadcasting rights for as much as we can because that's all that people really care about. It is very much a capitalistic venture now, and that is true for a lot of sports. But you know, the Olympics still retains its novelty. A FIFA World Cup still retains its novelty. Why? Because it generally comes once every 4 years. So the interest for it when it does come is next level crazy. Because you know, in 2022 we've seen a World Cup, and now we have to wait 4 more years to see a World Cup. ICC tournament is like we finished one in November. You wait 6 more months, you're getting your next ICC tournament.
You have a T20 World Cup 21, you have a T20 World Cup in 22, you have a WTC final in 23, ODI World Cup in 24. There used to be a time when there was only a World Cup, that is an ODI World Cup, which will happen in every 4 years. Till then, we have bilaterals much before IPL.
And maybe a Champions Trophy.
Trophy. Now, if you rightly said, if at every 6 months you have a ICC tournament, then it loses value, I think.
No, 6 months later, you got to World T20. And if I may add to KK, PCCI is not indirectly, although we all are obvious to it, the one board that is showing more inclination for money is Cricket South Africa. Blatant.
At least in Cricket South Africa's case, you know, I understand why that's the case because genuinely the finances of that board are pretty bad. In India's case, it's basically about the rich getting richer.
Yeah. Rich getting richer, poor are getting
you
poorer.
already run the sport. So, I mean,
Indeed.
There's this.
How many matches have Shreyas and Jaiswal?
I was taking Sankalp B saying how many matches have Shreyas, Jaiswal, Gill and KL played in first class. They have come on the basis of their IPL performance. Something I would take this from this question is, for KL Rahul started his career with Test cricket. Jaiswal and Gill have had really good domestic seasons with the red ball. Shreyas in fact had a 1,000 year season also. 1,000 runs season in domestic also. They are exceptional first class cricketers, but something that I would take out of this is that they got highlighted only after a good IPL season.
Exactly.
That is something.
Highlight your point further. You're talking about Shreyas Iyer because again, it seems to be volte-face to be able to criticize him at whatever time. His first class record is actually pretty good. 66 games, over 5,000 runs, highest score of 202 not out, average of 50. I mean,
He had 2 IPL seasons when he actually debuted for
Delhi Capitals.
For Delhi Capitals.
When is it that Shreyas Iyer came to the mind of the national?
IPL.
After a good IPL. I mean,
Those 2 years, 18, 19.
Rinku Singh has
But
captained UP for years. Does anyone care about that
Yeah.
before he hit
Exactly, that's why I think that you're spoiling the whole domestic circuit. Even players, if they're doing well in domestic seasons.
Also,
The trend right now, the trend's very clear. If you've got half decent numbers or decent numbers, like we talked about Shreyas Iyer, all you need is a half decent IPL, let's say. Half decent IPL. Like Rinku's example only, let's just go back again. We just went through his numbers, right? Yes, there's first class cricket to look at as well. Now, why does he find himself on the Indian bench right now? Because he had a good IPL. I'm saying it was 4 knocks. It was 4 knocks from Rinku Singh that have put him right up there at the moment. When you ask what his numbers are, yes, there are numbers to show as well.
I mean, we are talking about Yashasvi. You're talking about Yashasvi, by the way, first class. His first class numbers are over 2,000 runs at an average of 76.17. Are you truly telling me that if you are asking the question, what has he done in domestic cricket, then you haven't really checked?
And that's going to be the thing with the young players. You're looking at a 21-year-old Yashasvi Jaiswal, 22-year-old Yashasvi Jaiswal. In that case, how many years would he really have given to, domestic cricket? Exactly. You're asking for somebody like a Shubman Gill to be the next one in line after Virat Kohli and the baton to be given to him. Then he can either play you internationals or play you in the domestic circuit. So there is obviously something, and then again you're taking leap of faith.
Actually, you are talking about Shubman Gill. There is a question. Ashish Burma asked, do you think Shubman Gill struggling in Sena countries, and his average was 39.25 in test in Asia, that drops to 25.43 in Sena countries?
I mean, see, with Shubman it's been pretty evident that in Sena countries, again, barring that one knock we keep talking about, he hasn't had a very memorable time. He has struggled, there's no two ways about it, and now I think it's looking worse because, of course, he's ended up trying to change positions. He's had 3 test matches there where he's done 2 things, absolutely nothing. So that's also the another thing you have to now keep into consideration.
I was saying, changing. Even if Gill said that I want to play at 3 and, instead of Pujara, you're playing at 3. I don't think you should have changed your position. You're an opener. And being opener, you haven't performed that well. Be it in West Indies and now in South Africa first test, and you will play a second test as well. I don't think that position change has worked for him. Same for Jaiswal. Jaiswal debuted in West Indies, that knock of 171 on a debut test, and he performed well. But now, after, in both the innings I saw Jaiswal, he was really struggling. I think, you
The
deciding.
one question just drifting away from Indian cricket, and that's being asked again and again and again, as to who Australia could be looking at after David Warner's gone. Who could be that opener?
I mean, David Warner himself has endorsed Marcus Harris as being the next person.
Somebody who was, I remember, in the 2019 Ashes around, I think he played a few matches there. Also,
And was woeful.
I remember.
But I think his
how
recent
about,
Sheffield numbers have been better.
How about Bancroft? Is he also used to opening?
Bancroft is pretty much persona non grata after,
Yeah, you know what. But again,
That tall guy with long hair was very.
I'm forgetting what.
Will Pukovsky.
Yes, Will Pukovsky. He was seen
Pukovsky
as.
is-
Thank you. Finally, we
but
got
I
his name.
think because I heard, I think it was Ricky Ponting who mentioned Bancroft's name recently as somebody who Australia could look at. There are a few experts out there from Australia who feel that Bancroft could really be that guy. Again, he was hyped up, I remember, in 2018 as
Exactly.
well. And then all that hype had to be brushed under the carpet because we know what happened.
Pukovsky is an interesting thing. I think the problem with Pukovsky is he's got a history of concussion
And
related
long term,
injuries.
it's not a good looking outlook for him.
Yeah, I mean the problem with stuff like this is that it could lead to CT if you're not careful. So I think in that regard, obviously it's not very promising because he was someone who I think was also kept in the squad for 1 Ashes.
He played against India.
Yeah, exactly.
He played
Then
against
again, I had
Got
to.
concussion and
He got concussed yet again. So.
If Bumrah played that shot, I think, and Siraj ran towards Pukovsky.
Okay, we're just gonna speed up. We're just gonna speed up the process. Many of you pointing that out. We're just gonna speed up the process of taking questions. So we'll try answering very
we've done
quickly.
a lot of debates.
Yeah, we've had lots of discussions. I think I saw a question wherein there was a comparison between Warner or Rohit, the better opener. So very quickly, if you can just go.
Undoubtedly.
It depends what format you're talking.
No format being mentioned. Let's go with Test. We're talking about Test cricket at the
That's the
moment.
Warner's head and shoulders above. No
No doubt. In Test, David Warner.
But I think T20 and ODI,
No, I would give Rohit the edge only in ODIs.
It's a tough one because see, Rohit hasn't done well in the Sena countries. Half of them he's not done well. Warner hasn't done well in India and England. So that's why I think since he's done it on a consistent basis, I would go with David Warner.
Exactly.
Also, because I'm not the most technologically aware person, there's somebody asking us to put on the slow mode. What is it for us to slow down?
Is he trying to be funny? Because,
Something on the
one time
phone? Because I don't know what this
No,
is.
one time Siddharth recorded a reel in slow-mo camera motion, and what should have been a 46-second video ended up being 5 minutes.
I think he is just trying to be sarcastic.
Okay. I was like,
didn't go like
this
that, obviously.
something on the camera or the.
So, compliment for you, Devansh is saying, love your panel of sports today.
Thank you, Devya.
Someone was asking if has Mr. Nicholas left. So I'll just someone asked.
You should just. We will not answer. You guys all have this app called Instagram.
Please go
look
ahead
him
and
up
check for
and you'll get all your answers there. Dex is asking Siddharth, is it the first time that South Africa played two left-arm pacers in their Test history? Is there something you recall?
History, man.
Yeah, see, they had a Brett Schultz. That was the only left-hander that was there.
But Sotsobe a left-hander?
Sotsobe, but there were not two left-handers in the same 11. Janssen and Nandreberger, yes, you can say it was probably the first time that ever happened. I mean, you had a Hayward, you had an Entini, Pollock, who were all right-handers. Then Sotsobe came in at 2011. After that, you had Philander Mockelstein. Yeah, this is the first time.
Could very well be. But
Yeah.
again, you'll have to go back and
Unless if you look at it, there was a spinner who was a left-hander, and there was also Paul Harris and Lonwabo Sotsoe. But then again, two left-handers.
very rare.
It is kind of a grey area, I would say that.
Harsh Mishra loves your smile.
Alright, thank you.
Also, KK is saying there is a feature in YouTube called slow mode. He's talking about a particular feature. I think no
This we'll have to
he said
check.
No sarcasm, but I will.
This we'll have to check, KK. But
Yeah,
thanks for the
we
heads up.
will, we
We'll
will.
keep an eye out on this.
Shivam's taken note of that. Yeah. Always. Thank you, KK, for that suggestion. We'll definitely take that into consideration.
Only to return as India's captain. India's captain. Overall.
Okay, Dex is saying, and it's addressed to Shane, he says that prime Andres Iniesta or prime Steven Gerrard, and Shane, do you remember Thierry Henry is asking, yeah, come
Thierry
on.
Henry, who doesn't remember? And
But
also
that's a good one. Iniesta, I would actually want to put in two more names there. You're talking about Iniesta, you're talking about prime Steven Gerrard, let's talk about Xavi and Paul Scholes as well.
No, but then different roles. I think why he's put Iniesta and Gerrard is because they both played similar roles, and if you have to pick between two of them, eyes closed to Andres Iniesta. And I'm saying this as an England fan. No disrespect to Gerrard, but again, Iniesta was a class above anyone who played in that role. Anyone. That includes a Frank Lampard, who I love to death. So.
His creativity was unmatched.
You couldn't
His
match it,
quick
forget about
feet
it.
unmatched.
Engine.
Too
Absolute
good.
engine.
Alston managed is saying my best one in 23 was Cummins innings in Western.
Absolutely. I mean,
I remember that, yeah.
I mean, Cummins and the GOAT, Nathan Lyon together, silencing England. I mean, that was the ultimate pleasure. For me, the best moment in the Ashes was Alex Carey stumping Johnny Bairstow.
Oh.
And the memes that followed, which absolutely ridiculed Johnny Bairstow. He deserved every bit of it.
Who was the bowler we all know now?
Indeed. Cam Green.
Also, there is the Naman Kanpal saying, I like the new setup, guys. Khopcha always works.
You know, it isn't really a Khopcha. It's actually right in the middle of the newsroom. It's just.
Also, do you feel need to stop with multi-format players, bring in the specialist for each format and allow players to play?
I do
4-day
agree.
formats outside in India.
I do agree.
Even I do agree.
I don't know about the 4-day formats thing because it's good luck getting that done. But I do think, you do need to be looking at more specialists and less all format players. You have one too many all format players.
Web of Taragi is manifesting for 2024. He's saying, I would like a year like Pat Cummins in 2024.
Yeah, that is.
We are all manifesting a year like Pat Cummins.
You talk about. We mentioned earlier in the chat about Neeraj Chopra completing javelin. He's also completed cricket, yeah.
Won everything for you.
He's done it inside 24 months.
ODI twice. Here, 2-time ODI.
He won the T20 World Cup a couple of years back. This year again retained the Ashes, won the WTC World Cup, and then picked up a 10-4.
Although he just has only two things to tick off as a captain. Two things, okay? Win a series in England and Australia and India. That's about it.
यार वो तो नहीं अब नहीं हो पाएगा इंडिया में तो I don't think
See, 2027.
They are playing in
He might
India.
be around. No, it seems unlikely.
See, India are touring Australia in 2024-25.
Australia touring India in
2027.
Oh, that's he might end up winning another World Cup.
See,
in
if he
27.
wins the Champions
South Africa.
Trophy, if he wins the Champions Trophy, he will join Dhoni to win in all the World Cup winning squads in all the ICC events. That's the thing.
There's a super chat that I see. It's International 3191. We'd love to know your real name, International 3191. But anyway, the question being, how does the RSS system continue to produce good fast bowlers?
Genetics also plays a role.
Not genetics. I mean, you in the South African domestic system, if you look at it, mostly where do most of the players come from? Either from Cape or from the Orange Free State provinces. There you get good bouncy wickets that encourage fast bowling. But now South Africa are in that transition period, okay, wherein your bowlers are not a problem, your batting is a problem. You're going to lose Dean Elgar, and trust me, that's when South Africa's decline is going to begin, because you're losing out on old school grit, old school, if you look at it, determination. Without that, South Africa are doomed. They are lucky they are in a very good cycle this time. Otherwise, if they had tough tours coming up, they would be hammered left, right, and center.
You know, there's actually a thought that, again, was one of the former cricketers pointing it out very recently. I can't remember who, but I love that thought. And that's something that we ask of Indian bowlers every now and then. We had those questions for them very recently until yesterday, where we were questioning where those lines were, where those lengths were, and why didn't they make the most of those conditions. The one good thing I like, again, with that comment was, you don't produce those wickets here in India. You talk about batters needing to acclimatize. You forget about bowlers also needing to acclimatize, because they're not used to such wickets either. They're used to bowling, so they practice all year long on certain pitches over here, on given those few tracks over here, which are nowhere close to the conditions out there. And for a bowler to also adjust those 2-3 meters, a 2-3 meter adjustment means like a full length delivery becoming a Yorker. That's what 2-3 meters can do at times. So again, you never account for those situations wherein a bowler also needs that leeway and that time to be able to readjust, acclimatize. But you don't think about bowlers so much. How do you then, again, you've got to sympathize with bowlers also
But
at
your
times.
captain defended not playing a practice game before a test, and always India has been a country who, again, no offense to the bowlers, but they have a batsman friendly, loving country. Batsmen are superstars. Your batters, from Gavaskars to Tendulkars to Virat, Rohit, they are superstars.
And you are a country of spinners. Just now in this decade, you become a country of
After the
pacers.
world, how I'm just saying,
Decade.
Decade. See, why did that change come about? They said, oh no, we lost 4-0 in England and Australia, okay, in 2011-12. Now prepare pace-friendly conditions. Lali was becoming your laboratory for all pace bowlers in India. Lali, you remember it?
MRF Peace Academy.
Not MRF, Lali. Why?
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Because there the water content was such, the moisture would be on the pitch, there would be grass. If you play in these kind of conditions, good luck if you are a batter in Lali. Chaudhary Bansilal Stadium there. Now you have not produced any good spinners. Who next after Ashwin and Jadeja? Please answer that.
Bishnoi.
But
again,
red ball?
Not red ball.
Red
yeah.
ball.
Red ball, my
And you haven't
friend.
groomed someone like a Jalat Success now who have been doing well.
Jalaj, though, his career is pretty much done.
Yeah,
He himself is
that's
reaching the
true.
fag end of his career. Someone like a Kuldeep, you've not given enough test opportunities, despite one former head coach saying he should be your number one, or he will be your number one choice for overseas test. Didn't play an overseas test after that for quite a while.
He's only played Bangladesh, that's it.
That's overseas.
That is it. He can't play in the Sena because now there's a clear preference of only Ashwin Jadeja.
And that too, why? Because with them you get a batting option.
Yep, that's the problem.
Can we talk about ODI World Cup?
No,
Would the fans love if we talk about the ODI World
I
Cup?
would not. I don't know about the fans.
Nikhil was asking, will Virat be there in the Afghanistan series? I'll take quick questions now.
No,
No, according to you or according
no,
to
he won't
He's
be
asking
there.
the panel.
No.
Okay, no.
So Prasad is asking how Sri Lanka won a test series in South Africa. I'm just throwing questions.
How Sri Lanka won?
Miracle.
Yeah, it began. The guy who started it started with an M. Ma Amarakaya Kulakuru Surya Dimut Kusal Janit Parera.
There's a Dimut there.
There also, yes. Kusal Parera's 153 and also held by 1 less inch coat of varnish ensured that Sri Lanka won in Durban by 1 wicket. Port Elizabeth was a shocker. I don't know how they managed to win in Port Elizabeth. It is South Africa's fortress. Sri Lanka now remain the only team to win in South Africa and from Asia.
From Asia.
Yeah, India are the only Asian team to win in Australia.
Just be asking, who
And twice,
will
all the more.
Bellingham win a Ballon d'Or?
Eventually, yes. Can't see him not winning.
Yeah, like good 2 years down the line, maybe.
Yeah, easily.
2 years, maybe you'll have to wait for that much.
And just asking your favorites for Euro 2024, your favorite team.
I would say favorites would have to be France. Remember the hosting also. No wait, that's Germany that are hosting.
Germany again, I doubt, yeah.
Oh, so I'll say France.
I
think France are the
doubt.
favorite.
I doubt Germany because given their recent performance, there's been managerial changes and whatnot. We know this thing as well how bad the World Cup. And I think tempted to pick France.
Yeah.
Finalists again, very good team. They've always had one for a while now.
Also,
France.
Last, I think I'll take this last suggestion. Ranjana's suggestion for Indian cricket. India should add either Pujara or Rahane till our junior players become veteran. And
how do they
because
become
India
veteran
is
if they
going
don't play?
through this transition period.
Yeah, but how do you become a veteran player if you don't play Test cricket? Even Pujara struggled initially, so did Rahane. You have to let them. This is what you call teething pains. It's a necessity. Otherwise, nothing is happening.
Cricket lover asking, will Virat be there in Afghan series?
No, we already answered that. Said no.
No?
According to us, no.
Satish B has sent a super chat saying, have you like Pat Cummins? He looks like Ponting. I think that's an unfair comparison.
See, look at the team Ponting was blessed with here. I mean, okay, forget. I'll just tell you the test team. Langer, Hayden, Ponting, Clark. Then you had Martin. Then you had a Gilchrist.
And if I put Dada, अब सबका आउट कर लिया, फिर वो 7 नंबर पे गिलक्रिस्ट आएगा और वो सबसे तेज खेलेगा.
And then you had a
Dada coating Bhaji. That was Dada coating Bhaji. That Bhaji would come up to him as a bowler कि skipper, we've gotten 6 wickets. अभी Gilchrist आ जाता है यार.
और सबसे तेज वो खेलेगा. तो that team.
I know, they had Simo came later, but then look at the bowling lineup. You had Vaughan, Gillespie, McGrath, Lee. Oh, that was an alpha team. Kasparovich.
I think that's that for today, and we'll continue.
In the dugout.
Nobody can hear you.
I am not saying you. I want you to
Arey,
wrap up,
see na?
wrap up the proceeding.
Hey, you wrap up. I started. You finish. Chalo.
That's it for today, I think, and we'll be doing a special tomorrow as well on 31st.
No, tomorrow's 30th actually.
So on 31st, we'll also in dugout we'll be looking back this year again, and we'll always we'll ask you
For the dugout.
for today or for 31st.
For today.
Today we'll decide and think of something.
We'll
Yeah.
be decided and you'll know.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
6:15 we'll be there in the dugout. Topic will be there at that point.
But we're still asking where is Nikhil sir? Please go check Instagram, and we'll not answer that question. And from all of us, then we'll wrap up, and thank you so much for joining us for this live. And as Siddharth say,
Nandri, Vanakkam. Eat your vegetables and don't trouble your mother.
thank you.
Someone will have to go
Someone
there.
have to go and end the thing.